Hello everyone, my name is Rafal and I would like to welcome you to another episode how I create this headshot. And today we're going to be talking about this particular image. I've shot this about a week ago, and there's few tricks which I've used in order to create this image, and I would like to share all of them with you. And when I post that image, there's several questions which I found they were very interesting, so I will try my best to answer all of them throughout this video, so you guys gonna have a little bit of better understanding how this image, I would say, come to existence and how I even approach this entire concept of shooting that image. So again, we're gonna go through the behind the scenes, and then we're gonna talk about the lighting, we're gonna be talking about the settings, the gear, and at the very end, of course, we're gonna go through my entire retouching process, so you guys gonna have the full understanding what I have to do in order to create this image. So without further ado, let's jump into and let's discuss this step by step. So let's start with kind of discussing a few interesting things. So as you guys probably noticed, this image was shot inside, but it looks like it was shot outside. When I shot this, it was extremely hot outside in Calgary, and there's no way I could shoot that outside, plus the mosquitoes would probably eat us alive. So we've decided to shoot this headshot session inside, and I've decided to use windows as a background. So basically I shoot throughout the windows, and there's few little important tricks which you guys have to remember if you guys gonna decided to actually do this. So first of all, you don't want to shoot basically straight on the windows, because you're gonna get some really harsh and really probably visible reflection on the windows. So as you guys probably can see, I was shooting in the angle, so that's basically removes all the reflections from the windows, and you can just clearly get nice shots without fighting with some softboxes reflection. In this particular case, I've decided to go with two big octas, so both of them, they were 39 inches. Usually for the kicker light I use my actually smaller one, but I've decided to go with the bigger one and see what kind of results I'm gonna get. And also the room we were shooting was fairly big, so I had the room to basically set this whole thing up and don't fight and struggle with lack of space. So that's why I've decided to actually just go that route and then shoot with two big octas. So the setup, again, pretty much the same. The main light was the Nikon SB910 with the deep octa 39 inches, and for the kicker, Nikon SB800, and the same thing, I use my deep octa 39 inches. So you guys probably can notice the power is a little bit higher. It was 1/16 of the power, because the room was very nicely lit, and I want to just kill all the ambient light and just kind of focus mainly on the subject. And also we were shooting in the middle of the day, so it was really bright outside, so I want to make sure that I have balance between the light which is on the subject and the light which is, I would say, outside. So that's kind of gonna be looking like, there is some consistency with the image. So of course I use my silver reflector just to kind of bounce a little bit light and just kind of create this nice fill for the shadows on the face. And again, one of the most important things, you guys probably see that the windows are not as big. There is some lines, but the compression of my lens allows me to compress the background so much that I could just basically shoot through. And the way I was actually shooting this, I was actually just making sure that the subject is actually on the line between those actually two windows, so I could actually use, I would say, bigger space of the window to create this interesting background. And one of the questions I've received from many of you guys were stating that that they couldn't believe when they saw the image from the behind the scene, that this image was shot inside, not outside. And I think if you guys have ability, or you guys have a location or place where have really nice big windows, you can always use that as a backdrop. Always works. The one, as I said, little tip, always shoot in the angle so you can avoid all the reflection from the soft boxes. But other than that, you're good to go. You can shoot inside even during those really hot days. As you guys probably can see, one person was holding even the fan because it was really even hot inside. I can't even imagine if we could shoot this outside. So that's pretty much the setup, and that's how we actually shot that image. So let's go to settings, and again, pretty standard. You guys probably getting bored out of this because in this department nothing changed. I've shot this on Nikon D800 using my Nikon 70-200 VR2 lens, and I use only two speed lights, Nikon SB910 and SB800. I didn't have to use anything for the background because the background was the view from the window, and there was a lot of light, so I didn't have to actually use it. The one thing what I had to do was just to balance the light, so that basically worked really well. Again, in here I have 27 inches and 39 inches, but this is just my mistake here. You guys probably know I use only two deep octas I use two deep octas 39 inches. So let's go to the settings itself. So I shot that at 200 millimeter, the focal length, and the main reason again is just to compress the background. So I could use those windows even they're not that big, so the background was so compressed, so I could actually use that, and that's why I shot that at 200 millimeters. So I shot this also at 1/200 of a second f4. The background was really far away, so also I didn't have to worry too much, and I definitely want to make sure that the entire face is in focus, is sharp, so I shot that at f4, the ISO 160, and of course the white balance was set up to 5000 Kelvin. So that was my settings, and pretty straightforward. You guys probably see even settings, they don't change much nowadays. As soon as you actually can figure it out, this whole thing, those settings are pretty similar, and they always work. Doesn't matter where you shoot, you kind of have way better understanding of how this entire process look like. So okay, so let's jump into the actual image. So this actually is retouch image. So you guys probably can see there's really nice bokeh from the trees, and there was few things which I had to do here, but you guys will see it in a second. And then you guys can see also the path outside. There's some other trees, so looks pretty cool. But let's jump into and let's discuss this actually step by step. So let's actually take a look on the image, which was actually straight from the camera. So as you guys probably can notice, the background looks kind of pretty much the same. It's pretty bright. I actually darkened it, and we're gonna talk this a little bit to make this person even pop even more from the image. But that actually was the image straight from the camera, believe it or not. I deeply believe that it looks already good. Then the big octa from the kicker gave me this really nice separation from the background, as you guys probably can see. And if I'm gonna have a space, probably from now on I'm gonna be probably using the bigger octa for the kicker as well. I think it gives you a little bit more separation. It looks really actually nice. Okay, so let's jump into the retouching process. As you guys probably can see, there's a little bit of mess with the hair, there's a little bit of mess with the skin, the colors are a little bit off, not as bad, but we need to kind of make sure that this whole thing is actually nicely balanced. So the first step in this entire process, so I've done like a general cleaning, clean up some hair from the face. You guys probably can see there's she's got she's really young, believe it or not. She's actually, I think she's like 15. So the skin looks really, really healthy. Although we still had the makeup artist to just kind of clean it up, some of those things here and there. But that's just kind of makes my life easier at the end of the day. So general cleaning, so I've done some cleaning on the face. The next step, which was really bugging me, was the hair, because the fan was going on. As you guys probably see, the hair is a little bit messy, so I've decided to actually just clean it up. So I just basically clone some of the area from the background and clean it up the hair, so this whole thing looks much nicer, because the background it's really actually soft bokeh. It's really easy to actually change this stuff and then adjust it and clean it up some of this mess. So that's what I actually done, just clone it up and then just kind of cut it out, just to make sure this whole thing looks clean. So the next step, I've done a little bit of dodge and burn on the skin, so you guys probably can see there's some still dark shadows underneath her eyes. There's also some kind of spots on her skin, which there's some discolorations and stuff like that, so this dodge and burn really nicely cleaned that up. Okay, so the next step, I did the eyes correction, so I just brightened them up a little bit, and I actually also darkened the eyebrows, just to kind of make sure this whole thing looks much nicer. And you guys probably can see, as soon as you give some brightness to the eyes, the image and the headshot just looks way better. So that's why I always remind all my students and every photographer who shoot headshots that the eyes, it has to be properly, they have to be properly brightened, just to kind of give them this extra pop, because that's where you want your attention to be. So whoever's going to be looking at those images, you want to make sure the viewer actually focus goes straight to the eyes, and brightening them up a little bit sometimes just give you this extra pop. Okay, so the next step, what I've done, I darkened the background a little bit and actually just work on actually the colors. So as you guys probably can see, the background got a little bit darker, but I actually did a little bit of adjusting on the skin tones and colors. I think I went way above the limits and what I was trying to achieve, but we're going to correct this a little bit later. But that was actually the plan, just to kind of make a really much nicer transition from the background to the skin tone, so this whole thing looks a little bit more equal. Before, as you guys probably can notice, this whole thing looks a little bit kind of washed off. Okay, so the next step, what I've done, actually I just correct this a little bit actually more. So I just took a little bit more redness from her face and add a little bit more extra saturation to the background, just to kind of make the background looks much more real, because again, we are shooting for the windows, so the windows also wash off some of this saturation and colors. Okay, so the next step, I actually did a little bit of liquefying, just to kind of add a little bit of symmetry to the image. There's not much, as you guys probably can see, just a little bit here and there, but again, as soon as you start kind of smoothing some stuff out, you're just kind of giving the image additional polish. Okay, so the next couple step, we did selective colors, so we again took a little bit more redness from the image and add again a little bit more, just a tiny bit of saturation to the background, just to kind of bring these colors even more interesting. Okay, so the next step, this is just a little fluke. As you guys probably can see, there's like a little hole here in her hair, and this whole thing was just bugging me, because my eyes were just traveling around the image, and it just kind of was just taking me to this little hole in the hair. So I decided to just kind of clone it and just make this look like a one piece. Okay, so the next step, I did a little bit of work on the hair. As you guys probably can notice, there's a lot of flyovers all over the place, so I've decided to kind of clean this up, just to kind of make the hair even to make them look even more clean. You know, the more cleanest those little details look like, your image is gonna kind of look a little bit better. Okay, so the next step in this entire process, I add a little bit of vignette just to kind of make her pop even more. So that was pretty straightforward. And then again, I ran another little bit of dodge and burn action just to kind of make sure this some of the stuff from making all this color adjustments and toning, just make sure this whole thing is actually even out. And you guys probably can notice that even after the first dodge and burn run, there's a lot of done, and then you still want to do like at least couple times dodge and burn just to kind of make sure at the very end you clean this whole thing up nicely. Okay, and the next step, I actually just do a little bit of liquefying on her lip. There's something going on there, and I think it was just the makeup, or it didn't kind of look nice. It was like a little bit off, so I've decided to actually just fix that a little bit. So that was pretty much the entire process, even though it looks like there's a lot of steps, but you probably kind of have to go step by step and just kind of recognizing some of those little things which you want to fix, and then start adjusting them or fixing them, and then you're just gonna get you to the final results. So that was before, and that was after. So looks much more cleaner. She actually pops a little bit more from the background. The background looks way more, I would say, natural. Have really nice saturation, looks really kind of nice and green. And even though I don't really like green backgrounds, but actually that was the person recommendation, and that's the way she wants to kind of have her headshot to shoot. We've decided to actually just go this path and make this work as good as possible. So that's pretty much the entire process. I hope that gives you some, let's say, new ideas how you guys can shoot, especially in those hot days, and you can actually just shoot inside and then make it look like it's shot outside. And yeah, that's something which I think it's a cool idea, especially nowadays, where with all this craziness with the pandemic, we cannot really go outside, we cannot really go to the parks sometimes. I don't know, because probably a lot of you guys watching this from different parts of the world. In Canada right now, there's a lot of restrictions, and then it's something which it's kind of difficult to going outside and then doing some of those stuff. So that's actually the solution for the kind of situation we are in right now. Again, thank you for watching. Please feel free to contact me if you guys have any additional questions. I'll be looking forward to see your comments, see your questions, and then we can discuss this further. So thank you for watching, stay tuned, and I'll chat with you guys very soon. Bye bye.